Okay, I know I have to work on my book today, but shoot, I need to remember to take my meds. But am I supposed to take them on an empty stomach? Well, I take them with iced coffee. I hardly think adding a bagel to that mix is really going to make a difference. But crap, I really need to get this YouTube video uploaded before I do anything else today. But it'll be easier to do the video if I take my meds, but then I have to eat, and oh my gosh. Okay, how am I going to... Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. Oh, you actually know exactly what this feels like, and you do it too? Oh, okay, well then never mind. Come on in. Let's talk about autism, ADHD, and getting stuck. Getting stuck is a really familiar feeling for most auDHDers, aka people who are both autistic and ADHD. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for this. A lot of auDHDers also have anxiety, so that could be part of it, but I'm gonna argue that a big reason that we tend to get stuck is actually our monotropic thinking. I've made a couple videos on monotropism, you can check them out here, but basically monotropic thinking is thinking that works like a flashlight, where you think about one thing and it goes in one direction and it goes really far in that direction. Polytropic thinking, on the other hand, is much more like a lantern, right? So the light extends outward in every direction, unlike a flashlight, but it doesn't go quite as far as the flashlight does. So why are auDHDers so monotropic? Well, several studies show that ADHDers tend to be monotropic, autistic folks are often even more monotropic, and auDHDers tend to be the most monotropic of the three categories. The way I like to think about it is that ADHD is sort of like short-term monotropism, and autism is like long-term monotropism. So when you've got both, you've just got all the monotropism. So here's what I mean by that. ADHDers often have hyperfixations, which are intense but often somewhat short-lived interests. Or we have things like hyperfocus, where we can focus on one thing for like hours, but then we're just done. In both of these cases, we were able to focus on one thing and really dedicate ourselves to that one thing for a longer period of time and more intensely than many neurotypical people. But hyperfixation and hyperfocus are a matter of hours or a matter of days, maybe weeks. So that's why it gets grouped into shorter term. Autism, on the other hand, tends to come with things like special interests, which is where you are just really devoted and dedicated to a particular topic. And this can last months, maybe years, potentially even a lifetime. When you are auDHD, you have got hyperfixations and hours of hyperfocus sprinkled within the broader picture of a special interest. There really isn't any taking a break from your monotropic thinking. It's monotropism all the way down. So let's talk about what this can actually look like in the daily life of someone who is auDHD, someone like me. Well, first, it can look like the introduction of this video, where you're just stuck. You keep thinking about one thing, but then you're like, wait, I have to do this first, and wait, what if I do it this way, and wait, where did I put this? And you just end up really like curled in on yourself. To me, this is a sign of monotropism because your brain is wanting to work in one narrow focus, but a lot of times the stuff we have to do throughout our day doesn't all align in that like beam of the flashlight, so you're trying to draw it all in the right order. The smaller tasks have to go towards the front of the flashlight so that more light can get around to hit the bigger object, and then the bigger object goes, and then more light gets around to get to the even bigger object, and it has to go in that order because if you put the big object first, then no light's gonna get to the little object. Please, in the comments, let me know if that made any sense to you, because it made perfect sense to me. Another way that monotropic thinking can appear in everyday life for auDHDers is hyperfocusing on a special interest on a regular but still very unpredictable basis. This means you know you're gonna end up hyper-focusing on your thing, whatever your thing is, at some point this week, but is it gonna be every single evening? Is it going to be during your workday? Is it gonna be at 3 a.m.? And yes, that has happened to me. You don't know. Another really interesting way that monotropic thinking can pop up is when we're unable to tap into our monotropic thinking. Sometimes we just can't, and that can lead to listlessness, boredom, or even some existential dread or confusion about who you even are as a person without your monotropism. Now, I do want to point out that monotropic thinking is not bad, and it's definitely not worse than polytropic thinking. For example, how many times have you heard, usually a neurotypical person, talk about a flow state? And they're so excited. They're like, here's how you tap into that flow state, how you just like get going, and it's like you're not even working and you're just like going. Yeah, that's polytropic thinkers and their very rare tiptoes into monotropism, and they find it to be very joyous. Polytropic and monotropic thinking are both great. They're just completely different ways of processing information. Now, that being said, there are downsides to both polytropic and monotropic thinking, but in this video, we're gonna focus on monotropic thinking because it can be a real pain in the butt to get stuck like this. So allow me to introduce to you the 4 R's of getting unstuck: regulate, reflect, reorganize, and rampage. Regulate is the first one. You've got to regulate your nervous system in order to help your monotropic thinking work with you instead of trapping you. One of my favorite ways to regulate my nervous system is with an ice roller. So you just keep it in the freezer and then you pull it out and it has like this little thing on the end that rolls and you can roll it on your face and it's nice and cool and it feels amazing. I'm telling you, my nervous system comes down like 5 notches immediately when I use my ice roller. But big body movements like dancing, jumping, or arm flapping can also be a really great way to regulate. And that leads me to the next one, which is stimming. Just stimming of any kind, whether that's hair twirling or one of my favorites is running the smooth of my fingernail across my lips, and that's a big stim for me and it feels great. The second R is reflect, and this is where you can do some journaling, maybe pull an oracle card. You can do EFT tapping, or you could even just pace and kind of mumble to yourself. You just want to kind of process all of the jumbly things you're trying to pull into the flashlight beam. The third R is reorganize. So we're gonna go back to that flashlight beam and like the size of the tasks. So if that didn't make sense to you before, you can go ahead and skip ahead like 30, 45 seconds. But for reorganize, sometimes you just have to put the big task first because you just can't make it fit the way it's supposed to. So in a literal sense, what I mean by that is sometimes you can't do stuff in the perfect order. Your brain just won't let you. Even though you know there's a better way to do this, the only way you're able to do it is completely out of order and the wrong way. So like, let's say you know you need to make dinner, go to the gym, and take a shower. Your brain might know, okay, I should go to the gym and then shower and then make dinner. That would be perfect. But the only way you're actually able to do anything is if you shower, go to the gym, and then eat dinner, then that's the way you should do it. I know it's out of order. I know it makes no sense, but it's better to do the things you have to do rather than just sit there on your bed frozen. And the fourth R is Rampage, and this is the fun one in my opinion. I played a barbarian in D&D. I have a lot of anger, okay? So, and I think a lot of us do. So what you can do to break out of this like stuck feeling is you can start yelling into a pillow or maybe in your car. Don't yell like around small children or anything like that. Make sure you let your partner know you're not yelling at them, all of that good stuff, caveats. But you want to yell, you want to tear up paper, you want to stomp your feet really hard. You want to get mad at the situation and how frustrated you are instead of just immediately trying to fix it. Sometimes we need time to feel that frustration before we can solve the problem. Finally, I just want to reiterate that there is nothing wrong with monotropism, and in fact, oftentimes when we're struggling and feeling stuck, it's because we're trying to be polytropic when we're just not. Monotropic thinking can be beautiful and amazing, but it can also be really frustrating. It can often be hard to regulate a monotropic mind because we can get so zeroed in on just one thing. If you want to learn more about nervous system regulation through a neurodivergent lens specifically, I recommend you check out this video about fight, flight, and more. And I will see you all next time.